Let's finish the year strong. Hey ladies, I'm back and this is the Mamas in Control podcast. I'm Heather Chauvin and we have a few weeks left of 2021. It's go time. So every single day you're going to hear a podcast from me. This podcast are tips, tricks, strategies, clips from inside of our mastery and our mastery business coaching experience. We talk about parenting. We talk about emotional health. We talk about managing our energy and our time. But more importantly, this is about how we show up in the world. We all know who we want to become. We know what we don't want in our lives. Therefore, we know what we do want in our lives. And sometimes figuring that out, that's where the magic happens. When we know how to master our fear, master our guilt, master our resistance, and not push through it. This is not about burnout. It's not about hustling. This is about showing up, shifting our identity and showing up in a way that feels aligned and alive with the life that we want to be living. Whether it's at home or in your career, you could work in corporate, you could be a business owner, whoever you are in the world, you are ready to make a bigger impact. You are ready to feel alive. So if you are somebody who's been following me for a while and waiting until we open the doors to our coaching programs, now is the time. We are doing our interviews for 2022 start dates. So head on over to heatherchauvin.com/mastery. Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/mastery. And if you are interested in our mastery business coaching experience, this is for women, professional women who are either trying to leave corporate and want to market their skills. You are a badass and you know you're good at it, but you just have no idea how to do marketing or sales. Check out our mastery business experience. That's Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/business. And maybe you have no desire to start a business, or maybe you don't own a business and you are just incredibly overwhelmed and you have no idea where to start. And the thought of entering a longer term program, whether it's 8 months with a big investment, feels really overwhelming to you. That's why this year we decided to open the doors for the first time ever publicly for our Mastery Jumpstart experience. This is a 2-month container of space helping you start to get the engine going, creating that momentum for you. So you get everything that we give our students inside of our mastery experience. You get a mentor, you get access to me, you get the modules, you get the live calls. And it's only 2 months, which means it's a fraction of the investment as well. So if you've been hanging out a while and you've been wanting to work with me, but you're like, holy crap, how am I going to make this happen? Now is the time. But here's the trick. The doors do close at the end of December, and we will not be opening them again for Mastery Jumpstart until the spring. So now is the time to join us and book that call. So head on over to Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/mastery. You have one life and so many opportunities to change the trajectory of how you feel and what your future looks like. Now is the time to take that action. heatherchauvin.com/mastery. Do not pass up this opportunity. Once the doors are closed, they will be closed until the spring. All right, let's dive into today's podcast.
That brings up, that reminds me of the inner child work, of doing that repair work too, to heal that inner child that was wounded. And we all have childhood wounds. And so repairing some of that. And we often want our mothers or our parents to repair that for us. And that is a whole nother subject. But it's really our wounds we get to go on the journey of healing. And part of that journey can be really painful and uncomfortable. And part of that journey is really beautiful. And so our mothers can't heal our wounds because they have their own wounds, right? And they can't go back to their, we'd have to keep going back and back and back and back. And so we get to heal those wounds. And we get to heal them as we then start to change the generational pattern, right? And begin to not hand those down to our kids and our grandkids and our, and future generations. So that's a beautiful thing about that. Okay, so I do want to talk about one of the ingredients, I think, that is helpful in meaningful connections. And two, if you've been on a call with me before, you've heard me talk about how our culture is changing from roles to be more in relationships. So before we had all these roles, even within our family, right? I mean, the woman had her certain roles and the male had his roles, his obligations, and the children were to be seen and not heard. And it was pretty much up to the mothers to make sure that the children were seen but not heard. And so that is just in pretty much there was a man, a woman, and some children, maybe some pets. And now it's more like we have groups of people in relationships. And so we are learning so many different things. We are learning how some of those old patterns don't serve us anymore. And they may have in a place and time in our history, but they just don't anymore. And so it's not about right and wrong, good or bad. It just is. And when we can bring awareness, and then we can decide for ourselves, we get a choice. I could, do it this way, or I could do it this way, or I could work on myself, or, whatever that is. But now we get a choice, and now we are more in charge of our life. And so one of the things that I think is really important is to think about what it is we value and about valuing ourselves, because historically we aren't taught to value ourselves. We're taught to value the other. We're taught to please the other, right? As children, we're taught to please our parents, to comply, to obey. And it puts us in these boxes of, we end up being conditioned to please, or we rebel against it. And we probably do some of both. So oftentimes we have these values that we profess, and we act on these values. We model these values. We live by these values when we're in alignment, when things are going well. We also have a set of values that we unconsciously, unknowingly act out when we're not in alignment, when things aren't going well, when we're triggered. And so, for example, you might be driving along, going to the store, going wherever you go, and somebody pulls out in front of you, and you're like, oh, and then you start name calling, jerk, stupid idiot, blah, 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 blah. What does he think he's doing? And so suddenly, even though our values are, we are kind, we are compassionate, now we're calling people names because they didn't act in a way that we thought maybe they should act. And what really happened is it scared us. And as we come down off of that, then we're angry, we're mad, we're like, how dare they, blah, 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 blah. So we protect ourselves, we're self-protecting. But the problem with that is our kids are in the back seat and they're hearing us do that. And so it does accidentally model another set of values. So there's one when things are going okay and people are acting the way I think they should. And then there's one when people aren't acting the way I think they should. And then you can treat them however you want. And so has been really helpful for me to think about, what am I valuing in this moment? And that has started to help me with bringing down some of my guard and helping me be seen, because I think, okay, what am I valuing? I'm valuing approval. I'm seeking approval. And I am a recovering approval seeker. And so here's the deal. If I'm truly not valuing myself, and I'm not valuing myself, and if I'm seeking approval from others to know that I have value. But the other thing is, if I'm not valuing myself, I'm not truly valuing the other either. I am pleasing them. I'm not valuing them. It's kind of the same with respect. If we're just pleasing the other person, that's not respect. There has to be an element of self-respect in order to actually respect. Otherwise, we're just pleasing. So we can only value others to the capacity that we value ourselves. And when I came to that, I'm like, oh man, I had to take off some of this armor. So that's been helpful to me to think, okay, in this moment, what is my intention? Even coming to the call, what is my intention in coming to this call so that people will approve of me? Well, that's not really what I want. So no, am I really valuing myself and truly letting myself be seen and connecting with others? So that's really helped me.
So I have this 2-hour commute and I'm getting really bored. Like, there were only so many Netflix videos that you could watch, so many podcasts that you can listen to. So I'm Googling random stuff into Apple Podcasts, and I type in Mom in Control and Heather Chauvin pops up. So I scheduled the introductory call and I talked to Heather and I talked to others in the program. And of course I gave it, good thought, but at the end of the day, I joined Mastery because I was stuck and I didn't know how to get out of the hole that I had built for myself and the mess that was around me. And becoming aware of that just by listening to a podcast was mind-blowing. So what's changed? Everything. And it's that little spark at the beginning that has just flourished and grown and continues to grow within this community and outside of Mastery, within my professional life, within my marriage, as a parent. I don't think there's any stop to it. Literally, Heather Chauvin saved my life. And Heather's like, I got you. Be brave. Try something new out. Put yourself out there. Because it's the little steps that we take towards the fear, towards the resistance, that will allow us to build resilience and build self-love within ourselves. And thank you for holding space for me to be myself and for that to come out in a way that I was hiding from myself.
Well, that's it. And I wanted to thank you for listening today because I truly believe you are exactly where you need to be. And now I have a favor to ask. In exchange for the value you've gained from this free podcast, I'd be forever grateful if you would leave us a review on iTunes. Share the show with at least one woman in your life who you feel would benefit, and or take a screenshot and share it on social media. And always feel free to tag me at Heather Chauvin. The world does not benefit from your guilt and fatigue. The world needs more women who are willing to unlearn everything they've been taught. Women who are courageous enough to feel good and not let guilt run the show. I believe you are that courageous woman. To see if my community and coaching is the right fit for you and your big vision, the relationships you desire, the money, time, energy that you know deep down you are capable of creating, then head on over to heatherchauvin.com/work with me. That's Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/work with me, and take the next step in the right direction. Taking a stand for how you feel means you are taking a stand for how your children show up as adults. And if you have a personal question or topic you'd like me to answer on the podcast, text me 313-710-5199. 313-710-5199. You are so worthy of feeling good. Now go do some scary shit.